time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chad Erickson, and great to have you with us on this Monday edition of the show. We'll be joined in 20 minutes by Jason Cole. Get some thoughts with him on the NFL preseason. Jerry Jones says, not worried about CeeDee Lamb. Wonder how CeeDee Lamb feels about that. Tino Pattigno will join us on a rare Monday appearance to talk about the mayhem that ensued in NASCAR on Sunday in Richmond with Austin Dillon. Man, did he do Joey Logano dirty. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. When ESPN, when SportsCenter leads with NASCAR, when SportsCenter leads with NASCAR, think about this. ESPN, which talks nothing about NASCAR because it's not on their airwaves. When they lead with NASCAR, you know something good happened. So we'll get into that with Tino Pattigno, who I think he and I are going to disagree. There might be some words exchanged there. All right, Sam Yarnell is here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Olympic basketball to talk about. And who would have thought that going into the weekend, we'd be coming out of the weekend talking about two nail-biters, both for the U.S. against France in the men's side, and then on the women's side, both games going down to the wire. Let's start with the men, Sam. I've got something that I want to say just in terms of the way the men handled themselves during these games and the way the women handled themselves during these games. We always hear the term diva, right? It's always referred to, women, female entertainers, things like that. Oh, she's a diva. She needs this and this in her dressing room. Can we just say the men are more divas than the women will ever be? This crap with Jason Tatum, I didn't play enough, his mother or his father or whoever getting in on it, the Dave Portnoys of the world saying, I'm cheering for France because they didn't play my Jason Tatum. Get over it, man. You have the women on the other side, Sam. You got the women on the other side. Diana Taurasi, arguably the greatest player in the history of the WNBA to date. Not even getting like a sniff in the championship game, basically, and the gold medal game. And you don't hear them complaining. Brittany Griner didn't play in the second half. You don't hear her complaining. I'm just so disappointed in all of this mishigas as it related to the men's team with who didn't play and why they didn't play. They won gold. The idea is to win gold, and they won gold, Sam.
You're right, Jason. Really quick, just because I won't be with you and Tino later, gotta slip this in. The Austin Dillon thing, objectively hilarious. He couldn't have wrecked two nicer guys. Joey Slogano and Denny Hamlin. You had it coming. Sorry, it's the madness at Richmond, and Cookout's awesome. To basketball, the important takeaway for me in this gold medal game, you kind of alluded to it with the Jason Tatum thing. Bilal Coulibaly scored 3 times as many points as Jason Tatum did in the final game. The Washington Wizards' own was 3 for 5 from the floor. Jason Tatum was only 1 for 3. Really, who's the more impactful NBA player? Now that I'm done with my Wizards spewing, it's hilarious. Really funny, and I'm here for it because as much as we talked about how talented the Celtics were, and the Celtics were essentially the Team USA of the NBA this year. It was really, really, really funny to watch Drew Holiday and Derek White get meaningful minutes over Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who was not even on the team in the biggest stage or on the biggest stage in the world. Which we only get every 4 years. I said it early in the Olympics, maybe it was even before the Olympics, Jason. Steve Kerr, an all-time troll job of Celtics fans. Phil Jackson level mind games that the guy is playing. And it's awesome. Again, I love it. I love the drama. You're right, though. The women, you would never... Think about the whole Caitlin Clark thing. That was the story for 3 days? Maybe? We did not talk about that really the entirety of the tournament itself.
Well, the guard play was... let's just say, the guard play was suspect. If there was a weakness on this team, it was the guard play. They won gold because of their bigs. They won gold because of Asia Wilson, and in this game, Kalia Copper, which I think points out the lack of ego. Kalia Copper had a bunch of DMPs in these Olympics. She didn't even get off the bench. Yet when it mattered most, and they called her number, and Cheryl Reeve called her number, she came out there and played the game of her life on the biggest stage.
Yeah, I think that it speaks a lot to, I think, the difference in coaching between these two teams as well. And obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the same thing to coach the men's game as it is the women's game, and especially not to coach an NBA level versus a WNBA level because of the media narratives and the stories like what we're talking about. But I will say that the ball was dropped by Steve Kerr in these Olympics. If you're going to sit here and tell me that, like, yeah, even though he won the gold medal, he was a great coach for this Team USA basketball team, he wasn't. Carmelo Anthony standing on the far sideline in the final two games proved to you that he should have been the coach for this team. His success, his record in Olympic basketball showed you that he should have been the coach of this team, or at the very least on the coaching staff. So yeah, Jason, I do think it all draws back to the coaching. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about the men and this kind of difference between them and the women in terms of two teams that, like you said, both won the gold medal in their sport at these games, to me, it comes down to coaching, because Steve Kerr did not handle any of the different narratives that continued to sprout up and develop the way he should have on the way to only being focused on winning a gold medal. And it showed in their last two games.
Let's also say this, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this or belabor it, but Gershon Yabusele, that dude belongs in the end. That guy belongs in the NBA. How he's playing in like La Liga basketball or whatever in Madrid or Spain or wherever the hell it is, how that guy's not in the league is beyond me, because that guy could play. I mean, he was hanging with the big boys. I'm not even just talking about the dunk on LeBron or any of that stuff. I'm just saying in general, that guy could play, and he really showed out.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him play in the NBA before, right? And not a lot of success, but that was also 5 years ago at this point. I'm with you. I think it is time for Gershon to get another chance. Celtic legend. Maybe there's another spot for him on that very crowded roster. We know that they're going to need to make some cap cuts soon. Hey, maybe Gershon Yabusele slides in at the back end there. You never know. Yeah, he is very... That Team France, and I know I made the joke about Bilal Coulibaly, but I really, as the Wizards fan inside me, believes that he is a truly special player, and I think getting 21 minutes in the gold medal game for the second best team in the world shows that a little bit. This France team, Jason, they are a lot of fun. I mean, obviously Victor Wembanyama, but they've got so much talent. I'm very excited to see where they go.
We'll come back, talk women next.
I'd like to say this is the first time, but there have been others.
How many?
Who can keep track?
You think this is a joke?
Darling, we need answers, and you're gonna give them to us.
Tell us again.
My car broke down. I brought it here.
I got stuck paying an expensive repair bill.
So it's true.
How much, darling?
$2,300. But
$2,300.
What was I supposed to do? My transmission was shot.
You pick up your phone and you call CarShield before the car breaks down.
Plans through CarShield cover up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car.
That's right. A plan through CarShield could save you on some criminally high auto repairs, especially if your car is out of warranty. So, call CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company, before a breakdown and save yourself from getting stuck in car repair jail.
Let me guess. You hate saving money.
Who hates saving money?
Apparently you do.
All you had to do was call CarShield. And you could have protected yourself against expensive repairs.
Yeah, and then my price will go up the minute I file a claim.
Shut up! CarShield has the price locked in.
For as long as you cover your car.
I guess I should have called CarShield?
It's about time you said something that made sense.
Now you know what you need to do next time.
Bet he'll call CarShield now.
So can I go? Or
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. Don't get handcuffed paying expensive auto repairs. Call now and get the CarShield guarantee. Your price will never go up and your coverage will never go down as long as you cover your car. In just minutes, you could have a plan that covers up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car. Don't wait until it's too late. Get CarShield's best coverage yet. Call 800-722-6574.
Attention families with a loved one in a nursing home. If your loved one has suffered from bed sores, falls, broken bones, dehydration, or even death, you may be entitled to a substantial settlement. If you have a loved one who is injured in a nursing home, we will find out what happened. State violations are found against nursing homes every day. You have a limited time to file your claim, so don't wait. Call 800-398-5999 and speak with one of our attorneys. The call is confidential and free.
Let's take it to segment 2 on this Monday edition of the show. We talked about the men, briefly touched on the women, but now we'll get into the women a bit more. Coming up in 10 minutes, Jason Cole on the NFL preseason, notes from the weekend. All right, Sam, let's talk about the women. Whew. Boy, did they have to fight off a tough France team. I mean, not for nothing, too. I just say, the atmosphere, the environment those games were played in, that was some awesome stuff. I mean, that, as a sports fan, when you talk about sports for a living, it's hard to sometimes enjoy sports as a fan. Both of those games this weekend, the men's gold and the women's gold in the basketball, they were both fun games to watch as a fan of sports. The environments, again, the celebrity row, everybody into it, the fans on their feet. I mean, into every play. I mean, that was fun basketball to watch for a couple of days. But the women ward off a challenge from France. Gabby Williams shot at the buzzer, a 2, not a 3. The former UConn Husky playing for France. She could have played for the U.S., decided to play for France. Comes up just short as France falls by 1 to Team USA. And look, I said it in the last segment. I'll say it again. This tournament and these games may not have been nearly as close if Team USA had better guard play. And I know what they were trying to do, and I said this earlier in the tournament. They were trying to make sure that, Diana Taurasi, was able to get a gold medal in front of an actual crowd and get one more, get her 6th, all of that great stuff. But you did it at the detriment of a team that needs all of their players, that needs all of their compliments when you get to a championship game like this one against France. And it almost cost the USA, if not for Asia Wilson, who didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but got to the free throw line enough. And if not for Kalia Copper, who's a former WNBA Finals MVP, by the way, who had a bunch of DMPs in this tournament, didn't even get to play. But then when Cheryl Reeve calls her number, she was huge. Brittany Griner not even playing in the second half. Diana Taurasi riding the pine in the second half. Team USA, barely by the skin of their teeth, able to get another gold medal, Sam.
Yeah, and barely is exactly right, Jason. At the end of the day, this game should not have ended the way it did. It's as simple as that. And the U.S., as much as they did work very hard throughout the entirety of this tournament and have far and away the best team, they were handed the end of the game by the referees. It's very simple. You mentioned Gabby Williams, the shot that she hits at the buzzer beater, the floater from at the very top of the key off the pass from Marine Johannes, who another notable part of this French team who we do not give enough credit to, was contending for the MVP of this tournament, coming off the bench for Team France. Pass to Gabby Williams, and Williams puts up the floater, getting handled by Brianna Stewart. The foul isn't called. The floater goes. It would have been an and one for Williams to go to the line and tie the game. Instead, no foul is called, and the U.S. wins by 1. It's just an unfortunate way to win the gold if you're the U.S., and it does kind of invalidate it to me. You have to think that if France goes to the line at the point in the game in which they are, that game, no matter whether it's for the U.S. or France, that game does not finish a 1-point game. The momentum in that game at that very juncture was swinging too pendulum-like to end it in a 1-point game. It just didn't work for me. Unfortunate ending, but at the end of the day, a great tournament, like you said. This is the fifth, right? I believe it's the 5th consecutive gold medal that the women's team has won. 1994 was the last time they lost a game.
I thought it was the 8th. I thought it was the 8th.
It's the 5th for the men.
Yeah.
It's the 5th for the men, because the last time was Argentina, when Manu Ginobili was on that Argentine team. And he was like the only player on that Argentine team. Regardless, you just have to think about the future for women's basketball, right? Because the next time that we see Team USA at an Olympics, it's going to look nothing like this team. There may be an Asia Wilson, but probably not. It's going to be Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry. There may be Asia Wilson. It'll be Caitlin Clark. It'll be Juju Watkins. The future, it'll be Sabrina Ionescu. It'll be Paige Buckers, or whoever the heck you say her name. I know you always yell at me for it.
Paige Beckers.
But the future of Team USA on the women's side is going to look a lot different than the present, and I think that the gold medals are going to continue to come. Maybe we're looking at 10 straight, Jason.
Wonder if Gabby Williams plays for Team USA next time. That will be interesting, because the makeup of the roster will be different. I wonder if she winds up coming to play for Team USA. I think part of the reason she didn't come was, one, she was worried she might not make the team. I think that might have been part of it. And she might have been worried about her playing time. So to me, she obviously was able to get more playing time, be more of a figure, be more of a star in these games because she played for France. Cast that aside for a second here. We got 2 minutes left in this segment. More impressive gold to you, the men or the women? I think it's the men.
Probably. I think it's the men, just because it feels like on the men's side, the globalization of basketball is really taken over. I don't think we're all the way there yet with women's basketball. It really feels like, Jason, 2 of the 3 best players in the world right now are from Europe. I think it's interesting, actually. There was a Venn diagram that went viral. There are 3 countries that have ever beaten the U.S. in Olympic basketball, in men's basketball, for the gold. 2 of them don't exist anymore. The other's Argentina, who I mentioned already, the Manu Ginobili team in '94. Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union. I say that to say, if Yugoslavia still existed today, they would have Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic, and they might actually beat Team USA.
Last bit here, because we only got a couple seconds. LeBron wins player of the tournament on the men's side. There were some people that were miffed that Curry didn't get it. LeBron deserved it. Stop. Curry played well for basically a game and a half. I do not want to hear about Steph Curry deserving player of the tournament. He hit huge shots. I mean, I was in awe. Go look at my X timeline. I was in awe of what I was watching. But LeBron has to be the player of that tournament, Sam.
100% agree with you. Steph hit 4 threes in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. That was the difference maker.
It was.
But the whole tournament, LeBron was the best.
Yeah, LeBron was out of this world. All right, Sam will rejoin us coming up for something to consider. Jason Cole talks NFL, the preseason weekend action. We'll get into it with him on that. Stay with us. We continue with some NFL talk on this Monday. Our friend Jason Cole, author, writer, reporter, Hall of Fame selector. Anything else? Did I leave anything out?
Chili Peppers fan. So
I was wondering what you were wearing, and then I saw them on the Olympics handoff to LA yesterday. I was like, wow. Dude, Anthony, what's his name? The lead singer.
Kiedis.
Yes. Looks phenomenal for 61. I was like, oh my, he pulled his shirt up. I was like, holy moly.
he's in shape, especially a 61-year-old former fairly serious drug addict. Fairly serious.
Flea was out there doing his thing. They were impressive. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed.
Yeah, he gets after it. Still gets after it on stage. As I told my son one time, I'd taken both my sons to see them, but when I took my oldest, I go, realize that dude's my age. and he kind of laughed. He got the joke. Because we're I think the same year in high school out of Los Angeles.
Okay.
But yeah, he's in better shape. I will say I've seen a couple of times recently, I see him in a walking boot on stage.
Oh, really?
He does that. I think he has an Achilles problem in his left foot.
Okay.
He wears the walking boot.
Let me ask you about a few things here. Let's get around the league real quick. Okay. The Cowboys, the handling of CeeDee Lamb. What do you make of the back and forth here?
Comical. It's Jerry trying to make contract negotiations part of and it's Jerry trying to inject himself to show how smart he is. When you have guys who are hard workers, you want those guys to set the tone for your team. Don't make them wait for their money like this. The guy's proven himself.
Can Trey Lance be the backup to Dak Prescott?
No. Trey Lance is a developmental number 3 quarterback at best. He's not accurate.
Now, what does that say about the Niners and how bad they screwed up that draft pick?
Well, they screwed it up really badly, and they understand that, and they paid for it, and they got lucky, and they found somebody who's better in the 7th round with the last pick. I mean, it was an amazing thing. But this is what happens at quarterback, especially now when you're looking at guys who play in these kind of BS offenses and don't throw the ball on a regular basis and then come out early. Trey Lance is a great looking athlete. There's no question about that. And he's a hard worker. I mean, he's not, but it's like Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson doesn't even throw 400 balls in college. How do you judge a guy who just doesn't throw that many balls and is, a phenomenal athlete? And you think he can get the accuracy, he can learn the offense, he can do all those things, and he may have the smarts to do it. But when you just don't have experience at that position, getting experience at the NFL level is torturous.
How impressed were you with Bo Nix and what he was able to do with the Broncos in his debut?
It was fine. I mean, again, you're playing against vanilla stuff, so I don't take it too literally. The ball got out fast. I like that. You're not wasting time with it. Bo Nix is an example of a guy who at the other end of the spectrum has thrown a lot of passes at the college level and looks like there's some competency there. I don't know if the competency is a star or if it's a very good quarterback yet. We got a long, long way to go, but at least the first sample looks fine. I'll give him that.
Caleb Williams' debut, thoughts?
Pretty much, again, along with what I expected. I really try not to do this about making judgments other than, does the ball get out fast? Because
it's all we have, though. I mean, ultimately, it's all we have, right? I mean,
I understand that, but it looks fine for what it is. I mean, a lot of people remember Justin Fields' his first year. People were like, "Oh, look at this play! Look at this play!" And it's like, dude, wait a second. Wait till the lights really come on, okay? Wait until they throw their first blitz at a guy. Wait until he gets a first overload blitz coming off right into his face. I mean, let's see how he reacts to that. The speed of the game right now is about 75% of what it is when you get into the regular season. That 75%, that difference from 75 to 100 is huge, just huge.
My old colleague, Ian O'Connor, who I used to work with at ESPN Radio in New York, has this bio, that he did with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers in it says his only regret, really, is the comment about being immunized. Is he trying to sort of rewrite some of his narrative, or do you think he's legitimately apologetic about that? Because he basically says it gave them ammo. It gave people something to kind of throw at me.
I don't know if it's an apology. It's an admission. That he lied. He lied to the public. He tried to play a word game with people. Either you are or you aren't. And you should have been straightforward about it. And it's like I say to people all the time. I don't have a problem with people who didn't want to get immunized, but be honest about it and live with the consequences of the time. And the consequences at the time, if you weren't immunized, you shouldn't have been able to play. And this is a team sport. It's a team game, and you're responsible to other human beings besides yourself when you're out on the field, right? And I get that, the science was all over the place. We didn't know what it all meant. Yeah, that's what happens during pandemics. People don't know what the science is. We're trying to figure it out. But be honest.
I got about 30 seconds here. Will Brandon Ayuk be on the 49ers roster come week 1?
Yeah, nothing's changed about what I thought before. They need him. They're a team getting ready to win. And I also think that no team is willing to do two things. A, pay him that money, and B, trade what the 49ers think he's worth based on where they are. That's a really tough combination to give up a first-round pick and to pay the guy $28 million a year. Nobody's doing that at this time of the year. They're just not desperate enough to do it. So I'd be shocked. And the 49ers are trying to win the Super Bowl right now. They got to take advantage of what they have.
Yeah, I keep saying it, man. That team is about the sum of their parts. You cannot part ways with Brandon Ayuk. You got to figure out a way to make it work for 1 year or whatever happens after that. Jason Cole does a terrific job on all things NFL. He's a Hall of Fame selector. Always privileged to have you on the show. Thank you, sir.
We'll see you.
We're coming back. Welcome back to the show. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk about Jarren Duran in Something to Consider. Sammy Arnell will rejoin us for that. But in the meantime, we got to talk NASCAR on a Monday? Did a race get rained out or something and we have racing on Monday? Why are we talking NASCAR on a Monday? If Tino Pattigno's in the gold on a Monday, something crazy must have went down in Richmond. And it did. Tino Pattigno, I want to get your reaction to what we saw. Just crazy with this, what was it, the Cook City 400 or whatever it was. And end of the race, I actually watched almost the entire race. I started watching beginning of the second stage after Tino texted me to remind me I should be watching when he jinxed Christopher Bell early in the race. But anyway, we'll get back to that another time. Don't text somebody and tout a race. In the first stage you're touting, guys? You're asking for trouble. Anyway, you were asking for it there. So, end of the race, it goes to overtime, and you've got Austin Dillon, who was leading going into overtime. He gets a bad jump out of the gate, basically, on the restart. Joey Logano has the lead. Dillon wrecks him from behind, also takes out Denny Hamlin in the process to get the win and get himself into the playoffs when he was 32nd in the point standing, something like that. So before I get your reaction to this, Tino, I want you to hear, in his own words from Austin Dillon right after the race ended, how he describes what took place.
Austin Dillon, with a playoff spot on the line, with your season on the line, was that a fair move?
I don't know, man. It's been 2 years, and this is the first car I've had with a shot to win. I felt like with 2 to go, we were the fastest car. Obviously, had to have a straightaway, and Ricky wrecked the guy. I hate to do that, but sometimes you just got to have it, and I got to thank the good Lord above. It's been tough over the last 2 years, man, and I care about RCR, these fans, my wife, and this is my first for my baby girl.
All right, stop. Don't give me your baby girl, and don't give me the Jesus stuff. But the last thing you should be invoking Jesus on is you playing dirty to to win a race that you had no right to win in overtime. Now, with that said, Tino, it shouldn't have even gotten to that because he essentially had the race won prior to that. He did have the best car on Sunday, and he should have won the race. But he had a bad restart in overtime, and he literally went right through the back of Joey Logano in order to win this race. You've had some time to sit on it because I was mad as hell at you last night when you're like, ha, 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 that was great, Dale Earnhardt. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw now that you've had a chance to marinate in it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will never defend anyone for intentionally wrecking another driver. You know, in the moment last night, when I was reacting to it, it was definitely something I had never seen before. And that can be said for a lot of fans as well. That was something that I've seen drivers bump and run, dump others, Dale Earnhardt style for the win. That was not Dale Earnhardt. I've never seen anyone take out two drivers, wreck them both in order to get a victory. So I can't defend Austin Dillon. But what I can say is this is a product of the NASCAR playoff format. You win and you're in. He was 32nd in the standings. It's been 68 races since his last win, 50 races since his last top 5. He only has 2 top 10s all season. Somehow they bring a masterpiece of a car to the racetrack. He like you said, deserved to win that race before overtime happened. And he was in the position and he did whatever it took. I'm not defending his actions. It was wrong. It was dirty. I'm all for good sportsmanship, and that wasn't it. But you have to sort of, if you're going to hate on the player, hate on the game. This is the NASCAR playoffs for you. They want to manufacture these types of moments. Now, did this cross a line? 100%. But now let's make a change and make sure it never happens again.
Joey Logano's thoughts after the race.
What are your thoughts on what happened down there? It's chicken. There's no doubt about it. He's 4 car lengths back. Not even close. Then he wrecks the 11 to go along with it. And then he's going to go up there and thank God and praise everything with his baby. It's a bunch of BS. It's not even freaking close. I mean, dude, I get it, bump and run. I get it. I didn't back up the corner at all. He came in there and just drove through me. It's ridiculous that's the way we race. Unbelievable. I get bump and runs. I do that. I would expect it. But from 4 car lengths back, he was never going to make the corner. And then he wrecks the other car. He wrecks the 11 to go with it. So what a piece of crap. So what's fair game moving forward? How do you race him next week or in the playoffs?
Wait and see.
Thanks, Jim.
And that is the next question, Tino. How does NASCAR keep this from spilling over and becoming more of an issue in subsequent races? Because if NASCAR ain't going to police it, the drivers are going to basically police it themselves. And that gets dangerous when you're talking about guys in these vehicles driving 130 miles an hour, sometimes 2 and 3 by side.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we don't want our sport to be portrayed as. We want great racing, and we want photo finishes, and we've had that this season. Even drivers showing emotion, getting into it on pit road, that's okay too. But we can't have them using the vehicles as weapons whatsoever. That should not be. Retaliation does happen, bump and runs like Joey mentioned, but what Austin Dillon did, I've never seen anything like it. And, to that point, I think this is an instance where NASCAR has suspended drivers in the past for right hooking what Austin Dillon did to Denny Hamlin. Happened when Chase Elliott did it to Denny at the Coke 600 last season. He was suspended a race. Bubba Wallace did it to Kyle Larson at Vegas. He was suspended a race. I mean, if they're going to stay consistent on this, Austin Dillon could potentially be suspended for a race, and we may not see him race at Michigan. But at the same time, I don't think they take the win away because, this isn't something that's happened before. He made the line. Similar to Ross Chastain doing the Hell Melon and running all the way across the wall at Martinsville. Different circumstances, but still, it was another product of the NASCAR playoffs. Drivers doing whatever it had to do to get into the next round, get a win, and so on. So to me, this is now a clear indication of what cannot happen moving forward. And I think, this is something that's going to provide a lot of eyeballs on the sport. Here I am on a Monday talking NASCAR. That's a good thing. It happened for a bad reason, but if NASCAR can police it moving forward, we can improve.
I'll also say this, and I love Joey Logano. Joey Logano's had more than his fair share of incidents over the years in NASCAR, where a lot of people will say he crossed the line as well. So I know he's upset in the moment, but we also have to keep in mind a lot of these guys have done things, maybe not to this level, but things that are questionable. We appreciate it, Tino. We'll see you soon. Odds and Ends wraps up the show coming up in about 10 minutes. Matt Kuchar. What are you thinking? But it's par for the course for Matt Kuchar, pun intended. But first, Sam Yarnell, something to consider. The hypocrisy with which the F word for the LGBTQ community, for the gay community, is treated in sports. Some leagues punish it more harshly than others. We've just talked to a broadcaster who literally was exiled from sportscasting for 4 years for using it during a hot mic moment, not even really knowing he was on the air. But an athlete says it, slap on the wrist, he'll get a fine from Major League Baseball. What am I talking about? Jarren Duran of the Red Sox, with the Sox being blown out at home by the Astros on Sunday afternoon. Take a close listen to what takes place here with Jarren Duran and some interaction with a fan who thought he was having some trouble hitting the baseball.
Duran at 296 with runners in scoring position for the year.
First of all, was that Chris Mad Dog Russo yelling at him? Because it kind of sounded like Mad Dog, I just want to say. And then you hear Duran yell, "Shut up, you effing F word." Rhymes with maggot. You can figure out what it is. So he comes out after the game. I don't even want to say he comes out after the game, because he doesn't come out after the game. A statement is put out after the game from him, a statement that some PR guy undoubtedly wrote. I've been in this game long enough to know. Jarren Duran didn't write that with his own hand. Statement comes out after the game where he apologized. I shouldn't say this. I should be a role model for kids. Blah, 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 blah. Then the Red Sox say they condemn it. But at the end of the day, nobody condemns this stuff. Nobody really condemns it. The punishment will be a slap on the wrist. Maybe he gets a game from Major League Baseball. And this comes just a week after Billy Beane passes away. The guy who was basically tasked with trying to help educate Major League Baseball players over the course of his post-playing career on the importance of not using those types of homophobic slurs. And Jarren Duran's just throwing it around casually at a fan in his own ballpark. Sam, what'd you make of the whole thing?
Yeah, unfortunate, obviously. Jarren Duran, probably like the third best player on the Red Sox this season, in a season where they've shocked a lot of people with their performance. And obviously having far and away the best season of his career in like the middle of his prime. So you really hope that something like this doesn't cause his entire career to go downhill. Unfortunately, more times than not, that's exactly what it does. Obviously the kinds of reactions that we've seen to this all across social media have varied, from the very nonchalant and the Zach Cozarts of the world, to
what did Zach Cozart say? What did I miss Zach Cozart say?
You don't want to know. Go look it up if you. I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Zach Cozart, the world universally disagrees with you. On top of that, your career OPS was 80, or your career OPS plus was 88. On top of that, Zach Cozart, I'm talking strictly to you. You did nothing but steal money from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for 2 years, in the sum of $35 million, and played less than 100 games. What a bad guy for the sport of baseball. And then to make comments like he did, just horrible. Jarren Duran, yeah, you hope his career isn't ruined, but at the same time, if it is, The guy did it to himself. Whatever backlash he receives on the road, he deserves every ounce of it. There's no coming back from this kind of thing. And if you want to try, you do it in the way that a Tom Brenneman did it, and you go out and get active in the community. You don't do what Jason alluded to and let the PR intern write a statement that Worcester College down the street taught him how to write. So yeah, Jarren Duran, you lost a lot of respect from me. You lost a lot of respect from the game of baseball. And it doesn't make sense. Jarren Duran's from Corona, California. I looked it up. It's a generally split politically place by the beach. There are about as many Democrats as there are Republicans there. It's not like it's some crazy part of the country where homophobia is rampant. I'm really surprised by this, incredibly disappointed, and out of respect for the Red Sox left fielder.
Yeah, I saw what Zach Cozart said, by the way. He basically said now he's going to have to go take gay pride classes and go bow at the altar of the alphabet mafia, was what Zach Cozart said.
Yeah, he's a loser.
Yeah, he is. He is. And you know what? There's gonna be look. There are people in this country that think woke has gone too far. I'm talking to you, Bill Maher. Bill Maher, by the way, who now takes time on his podcast to interview Hawk Tuah girl. That's the level to which Bill Maher's podcast has gone. Somebody who I used to have a great deal of respect for. He's interviewing Hawk Tuah girl on his video podcast, whatever now. I'll be curious to see how Major League Baseball reacts to this, especially again with the passing of Billy Beane last week. And there is no more Billy Beane in Major League Baseball. They haven't done anything. There's been nothing said about who will replace Billy Beane in that role. And it's obviously a role baseball still needs when you see comments like this being made. Red Sox, the onus is also on you to take action, not just give them a slap on the wrist after the game. We're coming back with odds and ends on this Monday edition of Sports Wrap. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Monday. Don't forget, if you have not done so yet, Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast is available. It's on all podcasting platforms. You miss anything from the show? Go there. Watch the show anytime. Listen to it as well. All your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. You name it, we are on all of them. All right, Sam Yarnell, without any further delay, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. What are you thinking, Matt Kuchar? Aaron Rye, congratulations. First of all, let's get the big headline out. Aaron Rye, a winner, punches his ticket for the FedEx Cup in the final event, gets a win on the PGA Tour. But Matt Kuchar, you're in 12th place. You have no chance to make the FedEx Cup. You're on your final hole, and you decide on the final hole you're going to stop because of darkness. Not at the tee box. No. After you've already hit your drive, he decides he's not going to play anymore. He literally is the only guy on the course on Monday morning. Everybody's left town. The circus is left town. And Matt Kuchar's the only one on the golf course. And why? Because the difference between 12th place, 11th place, 13th place, whatever it wound up being, is X number of dollars. This guy's been known to be a skinflint. Isn't Matt Kuchar the guy that didn't tip his caddy who filled in for him one time? Was that Matt Kuchar? It might have been. But Matt Kuchar, you got to do better than that. Only guy on the course today. The whole circus is left out. Matt Kuchar's the only one there, Sam.
Very funny. Come on. I think it's funny because on Friday, I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, but one of the days, either late Friday or early Saturday, early in this weekend, I was talking to somebody about Matt Kuchar potentially winning this tournament. So it's just funny to kind of see how that all worked out. It seems like, he was a little salty. He was just upset that he kind of blew his chance to have even a top 5 finish, even a top 10 finish. And yeah, left 60. A bad taste in a lot of golf fans' mouths.
He's made 60 million in his career. You're marking the ball because of darkness. And then he tried to pass it off as, well, I was trying to show another guy who was kind of in the mix that this is what you do, trying to slow him down. No, you were trying to make a few extra bucks when you had no chance to make it to the... whatever. Graham McDowell, suspended. Who knew Live Golf has rules? You can't use over-the-counter like Vicks Vapo Rub or Vicks cough drops or whatever. Graham McDowell finding out the hard way, suspended for his next tournament, fined $125,000 by Liv. They'll take that out of the $730 million they're probably paying him.
The next tournament that he'll play will be on American soil. It'll be the Live Golf in Chicago. I would not be surprised if there weren't a few fans out there with Barry Bonds style asterisk signs and bottles of Zyrtec or whatever it was. Or Afrin. I think it was Afrin. I think that's what it ended up being, was Afrin, which is hilarious in its own right. Yeah. But regardless,
he's clean. Come on.
At least we know they're testing on the Live Tour. Like, at least we know that Brooks and Bryson weren't actually juicing. They were just in the weight room.
Last but not least, and Sam, I'll give you credit because you gave this to me. Olympics basketball. United States versus France. You wanna? By the way, Noah Eagle, another star of these Olympic Games. How good was he on play-by-play? He does sound like a carbon copy of his dad, just younger, but still, props to Noah Eagle. Loved the way he sounded. If you did not hear the France call of that gold medal game against the United States, this is what it sounded like from the French perspective. You've got to watch this.
Continue à aller voler les ballons, et ce diable de Curie qui nous fait mal. Attention, attention au tir de Steph Curry. Oh non, mais non.
Gâchez la bousée, levez la main, à tout moment il peut déclencher.
Attention, ça va déclencher, Devin Booker. Steph Curry. Au buzzer, mais c'est pas possible. Qui renverse pour Kevin Durant. Il a la main chaude, Steph Curry, il a la main chaude.
C'est pas possible.
Il a la main chaude, Steph Curry.
Ils ont tout donné, les Français. Et face à Steph Curry et sa maestra.
Allez, 2 secondes, 1 seconde, c'est terminé. 98-87.
So I feel exactly the same way. That's what I say every day when I get done with the show with Sam. I say he's about to detonate. Es posible. It's impossible. I've got one for you. Steph Curry is a magnifique. There you go.
I think it's so funny how, like, the reaction that we get out of these international commentators with a guy like Steph Curry, because Jason, you, me, and the viewers out there, for the last 8 years, we've been watching Steph Curry do exactly that on a random Tuesday night in January to put the Charlotte Hornets to bed and give them their 20th loss of the season in their 33rd game. But when you get the reaction of someone who doesn't get to see it that often because of the time difference and France being so far ahead, they never get to watch our games. It's awesome. It was magical. I loved it.
I agree. It was fantastic. Glad we all got to witness it. Sam Yarnell's contribution to the show today. The French detonating. It's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks to Jason Cole. Thanks to Tino Pattigno. Thanks to you for watching. I'm Jason Page. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for more Sports Wrap. Good shit, dude. That was fun.
All right, man.
Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
All
right. Bye-bye.